students that need a little bit more motivation. And the way I do that is I give them like incentives. Like, for example, Ryan, if you do your homework for next week, right? I will give you like a free week of no homework. How does that sound, right? So I give them like a little incentive.
What is the most satisfying part of teaching online for you?
Really, to be honest, is to connect with my students and to learn from them, right? Like one of my greatest pride and joys of being a teacher is to actually be a great learner. I always tell my students we're all learners. No matter if we graduate from school, we're always learning. And as a teacher, I get to see that through my students, and I get to really not just teach them great material, but I also learn from them, learn their cultures. And one thing I love about being an international teacher is learning from, learning new cultures, learning languages. And, some of my students, they teach me their native tongues, and it's just great because I love to travel. So, that's kind of the reasons, one of the best things about being a teacher for our school is to really meet new students and learn from them, learn their cultures, and also just themselves as well.
What's your favorite online teaching memories?
One of my first teaching jobs here was teaching Malaysian students. It was over the summer last year, and I really enjoyed it because, well, first off, it was my first exposure to teaching at international schooling. But secondly, it was great because I actually got to teach students that were like outside of my region of the Philippines. And I love those students because they were very kind. They were also very obedient, but they were also very funny too. Because there's some moments where we have like a language barrier. So I would I will go to Google Translate or make sign language, and it always gets a little funny that way. But I get to really learn from them and interact with them, even if it's virtually. I am able to connect with them, even at a human level. So that's one of my best moments is to teach students that were like outside my region at the time, and to really understand that, my gosh, just with a little motivation, I can really connect with them. I can really get them to do the work that I want them to see and see them progress in the class.
How do you keep students motivated?
On the very first day of class, I always set aside to get to know my student. And in that first day of class, I also get, just by the way they interact in our conversation, I already have an idea of like their a general idea of their personality. Again, I have a lot of very motivated students, but some once in a while I do have a few students that need a little bit more motivation. And the way I do that is I give them like incentives. Like, for example, Ryan, if you do your homework for next week, right? I will give you like a free week of no homework. How does that sound, right? So I give them like a little incentive. Other times I give them extra credit, right? I give them like 5 extra points on their next assignment. So I try to make it appealing for them to do their work, also knowing that what they're doing is actually for their benefit and for their learning. So and also I also try to make my classes fun, where we don't just go through the modules, but I also show them fun videos, documentaries, other things like that, to kind of diversify their learning. So in a lot of ways, hopefully that also encourages them to focus and also to do the work that I give them in class.
Misconception about online teaching.
So I think one of the big misconceptions of online teaching is that online teaching is sort of like a supplement, right? They think that, oh, it's just like people come here to be tutored, right? Not to really have an education. But that's actually very far from the truth. Like, I have students who focus, this is their school, right? and we teach them the same curriculum, the same standard like a physical school. But the only difference is, and actually this is a great advantage for our platform, we are very flexible, right? In an in-person school, they have a very strict schedule with a strict curriculum, and the students we serve, a lot of them have many, unique backgrounds. Whether it is they come from a family that moves a lot from country to country, or they might not have they might not be predisposed to be in a physical school for whatever reason. We can give them that service, we can give them that flexibility, and we can give them that accommodation. So I would say that, again, one of the big misconceptions is that people think we're just a tutoring platform, but we're definitely more than that. All right, my colleagues and I, we are all accomplished teachers with many years many years of teaching in the industry. And also we were able to deliver curriculums the same set standard, if not even more, because of the fact that we have access to the use of technology and all that, and streaming. So I would say that, yeah, that's one of the big misconceptions. They think we're just a tutoring service, but we're not. We are a legitimate full-fledged school with the advantages of an online learning, and its with its flexibility and with its accommodation. So in a lot of ways, we are far superior to a in-person school in many ways, because we are able to offer that flexibility and those unique accommodations that that physical schools cannot give, just because of the reality of how they're structured.
Best feedback received from students online.
A couple of them said that I was one of their best teachers on the platform. Also that until they had me, they had a very limited, very laid back understanding of history or literature. Because for me, grades are important, but what's more important is the wisdom and the learning they get from the subject. And I always tell my students that a subject is useless if you can't actually apply it in real life. So in all of my subjects, I always connect it with real life, right? For example, history, right? We study history not just to understand the past. Actually, we study history to improve our future, because sometimes the answers to our everyday problems are not found in the future, but they're already found in the past. So that's why we study history, to unlock the lessons that have been learned. So that's why that's one wisdom. In literature, literature is a reflection of reality, right? The reason why we love stories so much, because there's lessons in them to help us in our everyday lives. So that's something that was something that one of my students shared with me, is that I'm able to share them that wisdom, that class is more than just getting an A or getting 100%. It's about improving your life, right? And that's what's, for me as a teacher, that's what's most important, right? It's their lives are improved, and they deserve it, because again, they're the next generation. They're the ones who will inherit the world. So that was one of the comments I also got from a student, is that I was able to widen their understanding that that education is more than just getting a good grade. It's about improving their lives.